David ERDOS with poem 12 from At the Gates, to do with a seismic programme broadcast in England last night and around the world at various times. M.M. Who is she, this girl, who is twisting our tongues into talking? What is the precise fascination as her assassin-like stance takes its aim on a maligned institution the world knows as a paper mask placed on tradition, one which she has ripped with soft kisses placed on her husband's head and old pain? Since his mother's death, his throned home has looked for and even needed fresh martyrs, and so sacrificed on the altar, much like Joan of Arc, Dee's boat soared across music and mind as she represented Republican opposition on a TV show much like Oprah's nearly a jubilee ago. Joan's flames roared. And this is what M.M. attempted last night, opening up before Oprah, with a tear-primed stare whose reversal of every labelled accusation revealed the suspected mind most have seen, including Piers Morgan, who this morning railed against the pretense M.M. acted. With her H's stooge, a full hour was spent on her particular need to appeal. Now, no one disputes that working for that firm must be costly. None of us will ever truly know the full story, though Heathcote Williams's Royal Babylon edges close. But the point is today that a young girl's supposed fairy story cannot in all conscience be sanctioned by the demands of a muck-raked and slur-smeared marked, slippered rose. Cinderella is now on crack in some fat Arab's washroom, but last night the self-addressed little mermaid rivered her way into view. A damsel in distress, dressed in black and white for the sun and on a millionaire's lawn, courting issues, as she became judge and jury, despite Miss Winfrey's calm call for truth. Every aspect was played, including race, to stoke fire, and burn down the building in which the already dying clan sit in state. For after Prince Philip's illness, Andrew, and the need to repair broken England, a distant Charles was damned quickly, alongside a William who's grown wary, and the even more besmirched, regal Kate. A former M.M., decades past, epitomised dream and nightmare. That glamorous girl represented how far a star falls from the sky, used and possibly killed by the men who first came to come for her. Marilyn's delivery into darkness shone the most fierce of lights on the sly. But for the M.M. yesterday, conspiracy was agenda. She told of how she was horrified by the knowledge that after escape she would lose her young son's protection. Indeed. But then minutes later, she renounced that odd horror when mentioning the loss of H's too as the news. Forget about me and the baby, she said. Well, then which is it, Megan? Both, of course, as all parents wish to make a world to feel safe. And yet you wanted an anonymous life. So does the Hollywood sign let you have that? And with every move you make documented, funded and streamed, which bind chafes? And where is the hole in which you would hide to grow stronger? If you want us to see you now as a princess, even if of just the public kind, which soil's best? And what is the aim? To bring the monarchy down, or uproot it, as an act of revenge like your father's, or are you putting England itself to the test? Certainly, you won't come back, but are you sure England wants you? You say the Queen showed you kindness, much missed now by your age, who lingered somewhat at your side, and seemed both disturbed and embarrassed. One of two boys long abandoned by their angel-like mum, speared by fate. The Oprah programme seemed staged, but you can only speak your truth. We respect that. But your motives are masked, and your actions in power and pitch have not helped. Nobody knows who you are, but with each step you take, they'll be watching. For those of us who seek such attention cannot ever deny the cards dealt. Or maybe they can. But as you strained for tears, you were doubted. Often in life, of course, that's the process. But last night's list of loss and lack left most cold. Nothing, it seemed, was your fault. Everything else was done to you. If your mental health suffered and you considered self-harm, that hurts bold. It appalls that anyone goes through this, but in your need to control, there were buttons pressed all too firmly. In the pitch to sell your tale, your soul slipped between the starvation of hope and of a fame-hungry girl's feeding frenzy. Intent on an innocence mission, the rockets you launch crash and dip beneath the glittering surface you seek, as disaster's sea cracks the shoreline. That lost was soon stranded. So just how is strength regained for the weak? O-M-M. O-H. What and why have you done this? As palaces topple, it is always the poor who are left to rake through the ruins you make, as your belief in a land falls through earthquake. What you think you have gained won't be worth it, as both heart and soul fall bereft. Manipulation shows through, whether willed or unconscious. You didn't want to play, but play acting and willful pretense gave you ground. And yet they grant no peace at all. You are already living the dream they denied you. And as you seek more attention and more pity too, you're decried. You are pushing belief past all points. Never mind the set limit. Should others seek your example, the success you have found might defile aspiration per se. You're both playing a game that's grown deadly. From such family feuds come destruction and corruption too of the word. You cover the hot spots, from race to class to depression. It's a stricken age. You won't save us. For the hope you think you engender remains masked and mudded, as the clarities you call stay deferred. David ERDOS, March the 9th, 2021.